Yes, people, welcome back to another stream, and you saved yourself 40 seconds there. That's a little cool idea to get the likes up right at the start of the stream, so I might start doing that more often. Hopefully you guys are all well on this Wednesday morning. I've been absolutely murked, bro. Well, I've been kind of murked, but kind of not murked, right? Because I was going to do this just shows you how sometimes my brain just doesn't function properly. I was going to do a Brazil-Argentina watch-along, and when I went on the fixture schedule and it said Wednesday, right? But obviously Wednesday at 12:30. So in my brain, I just thought that was tonight. So I woke up this morning and I went on Twitter and seen someone talking about. I seen the fighting, the fighting in the crowd. I was like, Yo, what the fuck's going on here between the Brazil? Why is there Argentina fans fighting with the police? That game's not happened yet. It's tonight. And then I was like, oh damn, bro! But apparently it was a dead game anyway. Apparently, I don't know. I didn't watch it, obviously. So I kind of saved myself there a little bit. But yeah, that just shows you sometimes my brain doesn't fully work. How you doing, bro? You all right?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm looking forward to the game. The weekend's a strong word. I'm just looking forward to the Premier League being back because I've had enough of this international break now. Trying to watch England on the Southgate is taking me out of it straight away.
It is, yeah. The international break is horrendous. Of course, you're going to come on a panel show, aren't you, on Friday night, 9 o'clock, to preview the game. It's going to be a big show, that one, guys. So make sure you are available 9 o'clock on Friday. It's going to be a big UK time. Well, a lot to talk about. Is the Premier League about to implode on itself? Yeah, you've got crazy stuff going on. Teams are clearly not happy. Rules are being broken left, right, and centre. If you believe the press. Loads to get into, guys. Make sure you drop a like on the stream if you've not done so already, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel as well if you're new. Make sure you follow the second channel, More LB, linked in the description. I did a video on that channel yesterday about João Neves. Obviously plays for Benfica, linked with this move to Manchester City. Go check that one out, and of course check out Tom Little. You'll find the link in the description. I'll whack it there now if it's not already there. But I want us first of all, because there's a lot to get through. I want us to first of all, bro, talk about the Saudi transfer thing. It's not just Saudis, but obviously that's why it's come about, because obviously of the Newcastle's interest in Neves. What's your sort of take on this one, bro? Do you think that this rule should be enforced? Do you think that you should be allowed to sign whoever you want? Like, what's your take on this? Should Newcastle be able to sign Neves?
I think there needs to be a middle ground to it. I've got no issue if Newcastle sign Neves. No issue. I understand that there's the whole, there could be a bit of a shady deal, but that's been a thing in football for ages. Look, this, and I'm not saying you've done shady deals, but the City Group has been a thing where there's clubs that all are part of the same hierarchy. Chelsea now trying to do the same thing. Crystal Palace are involved in one with Leon. Lots of teams have these multi-club sort of group things. Just because it's the Saudis now, I can understand why Newcastle fans feel a bit hard done by. I do believe that it has to be done on a case-by-case basis. So if Newcastle went and got Ruben Neves for 45 million, I'd have no issue with it. It's about the going rate. But if Newcastle had got him for 20 million, then I go, right, okay, well, we need to have a little look here because they spent 50-odd million on him. Why are they now in 6 months taking a 30 million pound loss on him? It's got to be done on a case-by-case basis in this situation where a bit of common sense has to get involved and go, is that a pretty normal deal? Just because he's gone Saudi doesn't mean that the plan all along was to get him back in, this, that, and the other. Like, there's been a lot of situations where it's trying to fiddle the books and stuff. I just think you need to have people with common sense on it to go, yeah, that deal can happen. No, that deal, but there's too much dodgy stuff going around that. Because you do run the risk of this. I think it's going to be put a lot more into the light now because of the Saudi takeover and the fact that the Saudi League has so many players that, could or have a reputation, could play in the Premier League. But I think that's going to end up having a knock-on effect with the likes of the City Group and the Chelsea Group, because the moves to like Girona or NYCFC or who's Chelsea's one in Strasbourg, all them ones are now going to be put under a lot of scrutiny as well, when that's been allowed for years now. So it's interesting. My club isn't involved in it, so I'm not really the most educated on it. We've never really got involved with this sort of stuff. I just look at it and go, all you got to do is just get a panel of people with common sense and let them figure out whether these deals are legit or not. Because it doesn't take a genius to figure out whether a deal's legit or not. if a £50 million player is getting sold for 20 million after 6 months, and he's sitting there going, it's a little bit dodgy there. But if he's going like the loan deal is going to be really, if he goes on loan, it's going to be a really interesting one, because is it just going to be a straight up loan, because that doesn't make much sense, or is it going to be a loan with a mandatory future fee?
I actually think that the loan deals are more sort of difficult to sort of accept, because the club in Saudi doesn't need the 45 million for Neves. So, what about if they just started loaning Neves this year and then loaned him next year? That's where it, for me, becomes a problem, because then you sort of like just completely bypassing the transfer fee. I think it's really difficult. I think it's going to be really difficult to sort of police unless you just put an outright ban on it. Because like, how do you value a player? Like, at the end of the day, like, Caicedo, obviously he went for 115. Like, how do you even value players anymore? I've spoke about this before, and the transfer market is so like screwed and so like just like weird. Like, it's completely,
you can't apply much logic to the transfer market.
You can't, bro, because like you could literally sit there, right, and say, I think this player's worth 100 million. And I could sit there going, you what? He's worth about 50. Another guy could be like, oh, I think he's worth 130. So like, how it's so messed up, the transfer market now, that I don't even know how you'd sort of regulate it. So for me, you've either just got to sort of just like accept it, but then you're going to have to just accept that there might be some shady deals going around, or you've just got to put an outright ban on it. I just think, again, this is just a real sort of an unexpected consequence of obviously the FFP rules, because if there's no FFP rules, then this doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? Teams can do what they want. It's just so complicated. And yeah, like, you are right. I can see why Newcastle fans are getting a bit frustrated about it, because it does seem that it's just come in. It's like the FFP. Like, we feel that we were targeted by FFP because FFP come in when we started being good. Newcastle are going to feel like this rule is targeting them because this rule is coming in just as they're getting good. So it's like that's how the game works. But yeah, it is a bit of a madness, and we'll have to see obviously what happens. I think the only player, maybe the chat can let me know if I'm wrong here, but I think the only player that it would have stopped us signing is Lampard, because I think that's the only player that we've signed.
I wondered about the loan, because the loans are the big thing. Also, because I think the loans, like you said, they're really dodgy, because you avoid FFP with them, because you're not paying the transfer fee up front. You're paying a very small loan fee in most cases, and the wages. So that's a way to dodge FFP. I mean, think about how many big clubs now are signing players on loan for a year, and then there's a mandatory future fee involved. I mean, Jesus, that's what happened with Mbappe at PSG. Like, it's how these clubs try and avoid these FFP bans. With the loan situation, when it comes to City, is that going to stop you loaning the players to? So like, I'm just trying to go off the top. Who did you have? You had like Alex Garcia, you had Pablo Maffeo, all these sort of players, Savio, all these players that you loaned to like Girona or NYCFC. Jack Harrison was another one who you loaned out there for a year or two. Is that going to stop you doing that because they are associated to you, and you have to find loans that maybe don't fit the player and the environment? That's why your loan works really well.
Yeah, I think because it's a Premier League rule, I don't think if we was to loan a player to a non-Premier League club, I don't see how that would be a problem, because it's a Premier League rule. So surely it's about bringing players in. And if you're loaning players, I don't think that affects sort of like your FFP. But yeah, if we was to say we loaned Savio or bought Savio from, obviously it's okay because he got voted against, but say we loaned Savio or bought him for like a mad deal, then obviously if the rule was there, then that'd be a thing. But like, you can't really do that though, can you? I know, like, because City don't even fully own Girona. I think we own like 47% of Girona. So it's not even like I think we're the biggest shareholder, but we don't have like over 50%. So like, can you really say to Manchester City, you're not allowed to sign any player from Girona? Like, what about like the next Mbappe's there? Like,
and the one thing is, clubs will always find a way to get around the deal. All you'll see is clubs will then form an underhanded deal with another club. So if they want, let's just use Savio for example. You want Savio, but the rules come in, you can't buy him from Girona. Savio will then get a year-long move to somewhere else and then be sold to you after that year.
Yeah,
but because that club isn't Girona, it's perfectly legal and everything. I think it's these ideas the Premier League come up with. Imagine like the title sounds great, and then you actually get into the ruling of it, and you're going, it doesn't really work. You can't exactly stop it, otherwise you're just going to damage more clubs.
This is the thing. I think it's one of them FFP. This is the problem with FFP. You bring FFP in, right? And first of all, FFP in its design doesn't really do what they're saying it's going to be doing, right? But even if you put that to one side, you're going to have to accept then that there are unintended consequences. And you're going to have to then bring in further rules, and it's going to get messy. You know, they try and tell us about FFP that it's here to protect the clubs. Well, if Everton gets sued 300 million quid, that could be them done. That's not really protecting Everton Football Club, is it? So we're just going to have to accept that if they're going to stick with it, you know, there's going to be something else. Something else will happen within the next couple of years, like this signing players from an associated club, and people are going to go, hang on a minute, it might be City, it might be Newcastle, it might be Chelsea, it might be whoever. I think I've seen a report to say that there's like 9 teams in the Premier League that are owned by someone who also owns another club, because it's not even like the City thing where we are in like a group. It's like if I own like 10% of Liverpool and 10% of another club, like that is still like associated club because I'm a shareholder of both. So I believe that's what it is, yeah, because it's the way like they're connected. It's like the links. It's basically again to stop any dodgy shit going on.
We have like the way where I don't know if it's still a thing, but I know that a couple of years ago we were set up. There was a company called Redbird that owned about 15% of us of FSG and saying us, and they now own 100% of AC Milan. So if this rule will come in, will we now be stopped from buying? Let's say we wanted Rafael Leao to replace Salah. Will we be stopped from buying Leao because there's the potential that it's a common bill, even though it's like really weird.
My opinion on it would be no. You should be able to buy whoever you want. But if this rule was to come in, then you'd have to say that there would have to be some sort of investigation into it, because if someone has some ownership of one club, they're going to have some sort of say. It might not be a lot of say, like if you only own 15%, but you're still going to have a say. You're still going to be able to influence the club. And then if they own 100% of the other club, obviously they've got the full control of that one. So my opinion is you should be able to buy whoever you want from wherever you want. But if the rule did come in, I think you'd have to sort of have a look into it. But yeah, it's just a mess, mate. And like I say, I think there's going to be other stuff that comes into football in the next couple of years. It'll be some other sort of conspiracy or controversy will come in, and they'll have to look at another rule. And it's just one of them. Once you've opened the door to FFP, you're then going to have loads of other doors where everyone's trying to break. Because at the end of the day, right, I said this about Arsenal, and Arsenal fans don't like it, but it is true. Arsenal signing Raya on loan, that is bending FFP rules. That doesn't mean they breached it, but they couldn't sign Raya on a permanent contract. They wanted to, but they couldn't. Right? So how did they sign him on loan? That is FFP saying, no, you can't sign him. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll go around the rule to sign him on loan. They've not broken the rule, not at all. They've not broken the rule, not breached the rule, but they've gone around the rule to get the intended destination. The same with Barcelona with João Cancelo. Barcelona was going to get João Cancelo with either a obligation to buy or an option to buy, right? That was going to be the loan deal. And in the end, they couldn't agree to either the option to buy or the obligation to buy. I can't remember which one it was. Again, someone let me know in the chat, because FFP wouldn't allow them to make that signing based on their current financial situation. So what did they do? They just removed the option and the obligation to buy. Now it's just a straight up loan. Again, they've not breached any FFP rule by signing João Cancelo, but they've gone around the rule to get to their intended destination. So this is just going to be a thing. We'll have to see, what happens with the next controversy, but there certainly will be one. Guys, give me a same with Amrabat. Yeah, exactly. The same with Amrabat at United. They couldn't afford to pay for him, so they got him on loan. Like, it's, again, no one's cheating. No one's breaking the rule. The rule is there, but they've just gone around the rule to get to they've still got the player. So it's just a bit stupid. Guys, make sure you drop a like on the stream if you've not done so already. We've got nearly 300 people watching, and we're only 5 likes away from 100 likes. So make sure you hit that thumbs up button for us, guys. 5 people, man. Get us to 100 likes. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel as well if you are new. I want to speak on Spurs. Spurs have, and this is what I'm talking about, bro, is the Premier League about to implode, right? Because Spurs have now been, they're facing allegations of basically not dealing with the Jermaine Defoe transfer basically correctly. And again, I look into this, right? I just don't really get all this kind of shit. But if you are being an agent, effectively, cut a long story short, you want to be an agent, you have to be like registered as like an official agent, right? I can't just turn up tomorrow and be like, right, Mbappe, I'm going to be your agent. And he's like, yeah, sick, you can be my agent. Nah, I have to like register and all this kind of shit. Anyway, the long story short is that apparently someone that was acting for either the club or the player as an agent that wasn't properly registered was effectively paid, done his services, and now they are saying that they apparently the FA looked into it at the time, but they didn't take any action. However, now FA are now potentially looking into this, even though it was in 2008. So we are now what? So 2008,
15 years ago.
Yeah, over 15 years ago, this transfer happened. And now apparently the FA, who did look at it at the time but didn't do anything, are now potentially looking into it. I mean, again, where's this come from? First of all, like, what's happened here? Is this the FA going through all their old sort of investigations? Are they opening up everything to say, right, every single thing that got reported to us in the last 15 years, open it up. We want to have a relook at it. Has someone grasped them up? Has it come out in a podcast? Like, what is going on here? And, where does this stop, bro? Is the Premier League about to explode with just continuous controversies and investigations?
I don't know what to say on that one. I mean, it was 15 years ago. Nothing about Tottenham Hotspur, bar the name of the football club, is the same as it was 15 years ago. New manager, new playing staff, new stadium. Nothing is the same. How are you going to retroactively punish them for something 15 years ago after you didn't punish them then? Like, I just think it's a shambles of a system. If they're trying to push something there, I really don't get it. Like, you missed the boat. You missed the moment to put the punishments on them. You're now punishing them for a player who hasn't even played there since 2014. Near on 10 years. And you're going to punish them for it. Don't get me wrong, if they've breached the rules, they've breached the rules. But clearly something wasn't the same back then because you didn't do anything about it. So what's going on? Like, I think there was a new rule that came in with agents a couple of years ago. If you're trying to punish them for a rule that is in place now that maybe wasn't in place then, that just doesn't work because they didn't break any rules then. But otherwise, stuff that was done 20 years ago is definitely not allowed now. Are we just going to go back and punish every one of those ones? Like, it's just, I don't get it. It's
Oh, bro, your mic's moving mad there, bro. Oh, I think we've lost him. Just while his internet sorts itself out, basically, yeah, the FA have said this.
They've seen what's happened with the Everton one, and then it's getting so confusing in terms of how they're trying to, like, the ruling and everything on it. It's just mind-blowing. Yeah.
Now listen to this. Yeah, I don't know if you like need to reset your internet, bro, or something, because it was bugging out there for a minute, and it's still bugging out. You're lagging a bit. But this is what the FA said, guys. Said apparently the case was heard by an independent arbitration panel 15 years ago. Says the FA. The FA was not a party to the arbitration. It is unclear how much information was shared with the FA at the time, and no disciplinary action was taken. If there is new evidence which was not available at the time and which suggests serious breaches of our rules took place, we will review it. So it seems like the FA is only going to properly review this case if there's new evidence or maybe something was clearly missed. Yeah, Tom's just going to reset his internet, I think. Then basically what it says here, yeah, it says, at the arbitration hearing over the Defoe transfer, the panel found that Mitchell Thomas, the former West Ham United and Tottenham player, was an unlicensed agent and was a central figure in the deal. Thomas was named by the FA in 2008 of a list of agents who had been operating in football without a license. It was also heard that Levy enlisted the services of Stuart Peters, an agent who was licensed to act for Tottenham, but that a representation contract required under the FA rules did not appear to be in place. Levy agreed to pay Peters around 1 million in his role and 7.5 million for the transfer. So I mean, it seems like something dodgy went on, but whether or not something happens with this. And like, this is the thing, guys. How far do you go back, man? Do you know what I mean? Like, how far do you go back, and why is this happening all of a sudden? Obviously, you know, an investigative journalist. I mean, what are these journalists doing, man? Are these journalists just going to start fucking investigating everyone? You know what I mean? Like, and how long are they going to go back? I just think it's a bit of a wildness, and the Premier League is about to go because I think here's where I'm at with it. Yeah, I just think journalists right now are. This is what they want now, journalists. They just want to investigate clubs and shit for find the next big breach because that's what pays, man. Everyone, look how much traction the City shit gets. Look how much traction the Everton stuff got, the Chelsea stuff got. That's what pays. So I think journalists now are just going to start digging up dirt on everyone. We've seen it with Sam Allardyce when he was England manager, and that whoever the guy was with the camera recording him. I think clubs now, man, are going to be really careful about what they do, who they speak to, and that, because this is just the way the football's going. But it just completely undermines the game. And you're looking at it now, and it's like, fucking hell, is there any clubs that haven't done anything wrong?
It also just like it understates the integrity of the FA in a sense that why are you going back 15 years to a thing you already said, you know, wasn't anything about? Now you're going, if we get new evidence. So you tell me in these 15 years that have gone since, there's not been any new evidence you couldn't have investigated then. It's only now when seemingly everything's hitting, you're under pressure, everything's hitting the fan, you're now trying to find certain things that you can go, oh, well, look at us, we're doing the right thing here and here. No, you missed the boat. It's your fault. You now can't retroactively punish them. What are you going to do? Take away their points from that season? No, you're going to punish a team now that is nowhere near the same club that it was back then. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Or what you're going to do? Ban the agent who apparently isn't even an agent anymore because he wasn't registered in the first place. Like I'm at a loss for what they're going to try and do with it. It just seems like they've seen the reactions to the Everton one, and I think whilst the Everton one was the one which had all right basis, they broke the rules. I think the punishment's very harsh, but they broke the rules, so they deserve to be punished. Now it seems like they're throwing everything to a wall and seeing what can stick.
Yeah, no, this is what I'm saying, but this is why the thumbnail says Premier League imploding, because I just feel that, like, where do we stop, bro? You know what I mean? Where do we stop? Like, how far do you dig deep? Because, you know, every club's bound to have some dodgy shit going on. You know what I mean? Like, it just depends how dodgy and it is. And that doesn't mean people will be like, oh, well, what do you do then? Just allow people to be dodgy? Obviously not, but like, I don't know what you do here. Like, you're going back to 2008 to investigate default. Like, you know, I just find it's like, what the hell is going on here? You know, and now they want to bring in this independent regulator. I don't know what that's going to do. You know what I mean? See, this is the thing, right? People just don't know what to talk about these days. People are like, oh, yeah, we need an independent regulator. You think that's going to solve everything? I guarantee there's something else happens when they come in. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I think that's an absolute crazy one. But listen, man, I don't know what they can do. Like, what are they going to do to Spurs? I mean, say they did pay an agent, yeah? Say they did pay an agent that they weren't meant to pay because the guy's not properly licensed. What is the punishment for that? What is the punishment? And then this was apparently on a sale. This was apparently on the sale of default. So it's not, you would say that that's not sporting advantage, right? Because you've sold a player. So I would imagine that is correct, isn't it, guys? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. This was based on Defoe going to Portsmouth, I believe. Is that right? Have I got that correct? Yeah, a sell. So you can't give them any sort of, in my opinion, I don't know what your view is, bro. You can't say they are guilty. You can't give them a sporting punishment because they've not got a sporting advantage because they've sold a player. So you could that to me then can only be a fine. I think even like a transfer ban is that's probably sporting? That's probably a sport. Would you say that's a sporting?
I mean,
sporting punishment if you give a club a transfer ban.
I just look at it and go, what part of that, barring the you didn't use an agent that was licensed, fair enough, but the deal was fine in terms of finances. There's nothing dodgy about the finance of the deal, otherwise something would have been said at the time, but I don't remember there ever being any carry on about it. In the years that have gone by, I mean, Tottenham bought him back a couple of years later. He was fine then. So it's literally just they didn't pay an agent properly or they didn't use the correct agent, but nothing else was wrong about the deal. That cannot constitute a transfer ban. because at worst it's a fine, at best it's just okay, don't do it again. But it was 15 years ago. Like,
exactly.
That's the point. 15 years ago. Why are we going back there? The landscape of football, the rules in football were so different in 2008 to what they are now. For an example, FFP didn't even exist then. FFP wasn't a thing in 08. So are you now going to try and retroactively punch these clubs in 08 if they breach financial fair play, even though it didn't exist back then? I'm confused. I'm just so confused.
This is a decent argument. This would be the argument. But LB, with that sale, they sold him for 7.5 million. They gained funds to reinvest back into the club and buy another player. You could argue that's a sporting advantage. I mean that is probably true.
If I wanted to be picky, they bought what's his name, Pavlyuchenko. It was crap, so they didn't really get a sporting advantage from it.
Yeah.
But even then, like, I wouldn't even say the sporting advantage is because of that. It was just a normal deal.
Yeah. Nah, it's interesting. Big up to German Chicken Wing Man coming up with a 5. Says if they can go back 10 years for City, then go back 15, 20, 30 years for everybody. I don't care. Says German Chicken Wing. Well, I mean, this is another thing. Like, how far do you go back? How far do you go back? Now, according to Stefan, he thinks there is a Statute of Limitations Act because the Premier League is governed by English law, which is, I think, 6 years. But you can go back before 6 years if whatever you're investigating is either fraud or like concealment, so hiding stuff to get away with something. So I guess you can't really just go back randomly looking, but I guess if you find something from Liverpool in 1990 or United in 1992 or whatever, then I guess in theory you could go back, but it just becomes a little bit of a madness, this whole thing about how far do you actually start going back looking at stuff. Because it is complex, isn't it?
It's also the punishment that you're given as well. I mean, let's say they found a breach from Liverpool in 1995. We broke a rule in 1995. Are you going to then punish us with a points deduction or a transfer ban for us as a club, which is vastly different to the club it was 20 odd years ago, nearly 30 odd years ago? Like, it doesn't make sense in terms of the punishments that you're going to give.
What would you do? So, for example, right, say Liverpool cooked the books in 1990, yeah? I say I don't know. Say they did it in a year that they won. Let's go back to 2005 when you won the Champions League. 2005, right? Champions League. Easier, right? Say Liverpool cooked the books in 2005, which doesn't really matter because no FFP. But let's just say there was FFP there. And now it's uncovered that you cooked the books in 2005. You're now nearly 20 years on. I mean, what can you actually do? Because it's not. Like, what can you actually do there? Can you? It's a different ownership. It's different players. It's a different manager. Bloody hell, half the fans are different at Anfield compared to 20 years ago. What are you actually going to do? Would you, can you really give a points deduction for Liverpool now, 20 years later? Do you take the trophy off them?
It's so wrong. Like, and it's the same with you. I struggle to see why they're trying to go back 15 years with you. It's a vastly different environment. It's a vastly different landscape. It's different. Everything is different now. If anything, what you should take from that, let's say we did and you only found it now, you can't punish us for it because there should be a thing about like 5 years span. If you can't, if within 5 years after you've done it, you get caught, punishment can happen. Beyond that, I think it's very harsh to punish a club then for your mistake. You didn't do it. You're supposed to see these things. You're supposed to notice these things. You didn't see it. So all that should happen then is the clubs feel they get away with one, but you should be looking like even tighter, even stricter on these things, because if one club's done it, loads of other clubs will have done it. Loads of other clubs will be doing it. You have to look at it tighter. All this has come about because you didn't do your job correctly the first time. You now can't punish them retroactively because you didn't do your job. You cocked up. I don't get how that's fair. If my job in work was as a supervisor and someone cocked up and I didn't notice until months later, I'd get the shit because I didn't notice it until months later. You'd be told, "Come on, what are you doing that?" Like it's a simple mistake, but it'd be you're the person in charge. You're the one who's there with the rules. Why are you missing that? How are you missing that? That can't be a thing.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Listen, I think it's an interesting one, and people have different opinions on it. I don't know, man. I think when you're going back like 10, 15, 20 years, which they are doing with Defoe, which they're doing with some of the City charges, which they're doing with the hypothetical Liverpool case that we just made up. Like, well, I don't know, man. I don't know. And like, let's talk about the City one, for example. I very much doubt that they're going to strip City of titles because it just completely sort of eradicates the last decade of English football. Because City won like 5 Carabao Cups in a row. I think they won like 2 or 3 FA Cups. They won quite a few Premier Leagues. Like it just. So what do you actually do? Do you kick us out of the league? Do you give us a points deduction? Do you give us a huge fine? This is obviously on the basis that we're guilty, which obviously at the moment we're innocent until proven guilty. But yeah, I listen. It's all a bit fucked. There's a little bit coming out today as well, saying now City are pushing the FA to have a look at the Liverpool case from a few years ago. This is, I'll give you guys a bit of an update on this, a bit of a summary. So what happened was there were some scouts that were working at City, and City had access to some scouting database, which obviously had all the players that City were looking at. The player left, not the player, the scout left to join Liverpool. City didn't stop their access to the system. Like, when you leave a job, they cut your account. So when the guy left, whoever it was, still had access to the system, and whilst at Liverpool, still accessed that system. I guess as part of his job. So it's not hacking, but it is illegal. You're not allowed to do that in the UK. Apparently, there was a private arrangement. Liverpool paid City £1 million in sort of like a compensation, but the Premier League never really looked at it. Apparently now City, I imagine City, because he's not actually mentioned what team it is, but apparently a club, let's just say City, given that City were the alleged victims in this, and now pushing the FA to look into this as well. Which, to be honest, Tom, from a City point of view, I understand, bro, because if City are getting cooked for everything that they're doing, this is what I said. This is what I've said previously, actually. If City are getting cooked, because what you got to remember is, right, this whole FFP investigation thing that's going on right now is a result of hacked emails. This is how City are being investigated from the UEFA, which went to CAS. That was all based on the hacked emails in the Premier League. So, and this is the problem that you have with hacked stuff, is that people say, why is City not cooperating if they're innocent? Well, it's because it's based on a hacked information, you know what I mean? And whether that's legal, because you go down, in my opinion, you go down a very dark path. If you say that hacked information is fine, and City obviously being under this huge threat, potentially might get kicked out of the league if they're guilty. Listen, it wouldn't surprise me if City were just like, fucking find a hacker, pay him £1 million and tell him to hack every single Premier League team. Tell him to hack everyone. Because this is the sort of danger that you go down. Now, in some countries, hacked information isn't allowed to be involved in like arbitration and courts. So Portugal, because the guy who hacked the emails, I think he was called like Rui Pinto or something like that. He was arrested for hacking in Portugal, went to Portugal in the court system, and the Portuguese court said it in their sort of like summary statement, none of this guy's hacked information should be used in any sort of arbitration or courts. This guy isn't a justice warrior. He's a blackmailer. That's what he does. He blackmails. But the problem is with the UEFA case that went to CAS in Switzerland, you are allowed to use hacked information. But this is the problem. Like with hacking, for example, like there's no surprise to me that City are now pushing this if it's true, because they would do. If City are going to go down and they potentially feel that they've been injustice by another club, they're not just going to go down and be like, all right, good luck to everyone else. They're going to try and take the whole league down with them, which is, I understand. I'd do the same thing, bro. You know what I mean? If I was getting prosecuted and I didn't feel I'd done anything, I feel like I was being treated unjust, and then my rivals, my enemies, which effectively clubs are, or enemies were rivals, I felt like they'd do it. I'd probably fucking take them all down as well. I'm not going down on my own, mate. Obviously, no, that's slightly different because then we call it grass. But I don't know, bro. Where do you stand on this, man? Because this is apparently City are now pressing the Premier League to look into the Liverpool scout who accessed the Scout 7 system when he shouldn't have. What's your view on that, bro?
I think this has come from us. I think both of them. Like, apparently, we're pushing the FA to hurry up with the verdict on your one. Like, we're the club leading that charge, which I think is pointless anyway. I'd rather we just didn't get involved with that stuff. This one, from a Liverpool fan perspective, the scout who done it was shit because we never got any good players out of it. The players we bought after we hacked you were Stuart Down and Charlie Adam and fucking Iago Aspas. They were all a bit shit. So you might well have like led us on and had a fake Scout 7 with this fake Scout who just, it's stupid. For me as a person, I've got no issue with it coming on us. Like, morally, I think it's a bit weird because we agreed something behind the scenes, but if there wasn't an official contract or anything, then fair enough. But I also think there's a little bit of it which has got to go down to, like, it's a bit of a fucking cock up from you to not even just like lock his account or remove his account or something, or just change your password. Like, it's partly your own doing to even allow something like that to happen. I can't remember how we got caught. Like
City, the reports that I've read, basically, City had a few players on this scouting system, and I think what happened is like maybe they went to speak to the player or went to and they started noticing that, like, oh, Liverpool apparently have spoken to him, or Liverpool apparently have spoken to him, and then they were like, what the fuck is going on here? And then they got in a forensic computer expert who probably contacted Scout 7 and were like, yo, check the IP addresses and all that, and then probably found an IP address in Liverpool, and then we're like, oh shit, that guy went to Liverpool. That's how I imagine how it probably found out. Yeah, but it is a bit mad that City didn't do the password. But I mean, at the end of the day, even if you get guilty for that, what's the worst that's going to happen? Absolute worst case scenario.
Oh no, we don't get to use Scout 7 and that shit scouting balls. All these crap players doesn't get to be our scouts anymore. Thank God for that. It'd be more beneficial to us. Look, I think it's been a long way going back and going, can you really punish a club for something that happened 10 years ago? Well, because it was about 10 years ago now, weren't it? Like, the environment is completely different.
Yeah, 2013 it was.
Like, I think stuff has to be done in terms of the way it's looked at and how the punishments are done and how long of a window you have to give a team of punishments, because the team and the club structured the way it was then 10 years ago. Jesus Christ. If we're going, was it in like 2010, 2011? Because that was
2013 it was.
2013, so that was the start of FSG. So the only thing that is the same now is the ownership group. In terms of the people who run the transfers, different now. The manager is different now. The squad is different now. There certainly can't be a sporting punishment for it because we didn't even get a sporting advantage then, let alone now. Like, it's a weird. Like, you know what it is? I remember seeing it at the time. I remember seeing the carry-on from it. If they'd have put that in like a movie or something, you go, no, you can't have that. That's too stupid. That's too outlandish that a Premier League club has forgot to change the password on something. So another Premier League club has now used that password to log in, but have only lost out because they've wasted money on all the other stuff because the players they used in it was so bad. Like, it's a comedic thing, but I've got no problem with City coming at us over it. It's funny. It's like, I also sort of go, fair enough. You know what? Like you said, if everyone's pushing it on you, you push it back on them. And we're apparently the ones, according to that Kieran Maguire, we're the ones pushing it on you with regards to hurry up and get this verdict done so we know what the punishment's going to be ahead of the 24-25 season, which is next year. I don't think that's going to happen anyway because I think it's a very long investigation that has to have its due diligence done. But we're apparently the club that's pushing for that verdict. So I'm not shocked that he's coming at us over it. So I think that's always like fair. I would not also, if we were in your position, I'd want us to do the same thing. So I can't knock it when you're doing it to us.
Yeah, German Chicken Wing says take Liverpool's. They're only one Premier League title away. We got Chicken Wing. The FA statement at the time, because basically, right. So in 2020, so the actual thing happened in 2013. Right. In 2020, the FA released a statement to say The FA has carefully considered the evidence received in this matter, including information provided by both clubs involved, and has decided not to progress the investigation. This is due to a number of factors, including the age of the alleged concerns. So clearly they're saying like it's just bare old. And the settlement agreed by the two clubs involved, which kind of again backs up that the Liverpool did pay the £1 million as reported. As per standard protocol, however, should the FA receive further information or evidence, the decision not to progress the investigation may be reviewed. So it can still be reopened, but it seems to suggest it can only be done on if there's further evidence.
All I'll say is, if you try and push this again, give us our £1 million back. We could use that because we don't fucking spend money. I want me £1 million back. You don't have the £1 million. I'm not getting the punishments.
Yeah, it's a madness. But obviously, this is what City are going to do, man. And City going to find all City. It wouldn't surprise me if City had a department, dirt finding department, where literally that is what the department. Because City are not just going to accept this. You know what I mean? If City feel like they've been hard done by here on these charges or whatever, feel like they were being targeted, and other clubs are pressuring. This is the thing I don't get about the other clubs pressuring. The investigation is the investigation. The panel will review it when the panel reviews it, and the decision will be the decision. It's not really going to make any difference, clubs getting involved. And all that's going to do is piss off City. So if Liverpool are really trying to push the Premier League to get this 115 charges sorted quickly, City just going to be like, yo, what the fuck are you doing, Liverpool? Like, you fucked us. Like, we're gonna come back at you. It'd be better off if Liverpool and other clubs were just saying, oh, well, we're not involved, like we're not interested. The panel will do the 115 when it happens and it'll get done. And City like, yeah, big up, man, big up. And it's sort of like, we'll leave you. But it's almost as if like these other clubs are antagonizing City, and City not, like I say, City not just going to sit there and accept that. They're gonna fight back. And obviously the easy target is Liverpool because we already know about it. But listen, I'm telling you now, it would not surprise me if City are going looking at everything that all clubs have done. Because if they go down, they'll want to take the whole fucking league down with them. They're not just going to... If City do get found guilty and get relegated, right? City not just going to go down and be like, oh, never mind. Oh, we'll be back in a few years. See ya. No, they're going to try and take the whole fucking thing down. And
I can't wait for the Premier League of Barnsley, Portsmouth. But when all the Premier League clubs have been found out that we're guilty of something because City have exposed it all, it's going to be the Championship in the Prem.
Yeah, it would be wild, but... and then you got the Chelsea one. I mean, the Chelsea's wild because they've admitted it.
That one's a weird one because, like, I don't think if you're going to punish City for it, you have to punish Chelsea. I don't care if they've come forward and said it. You have to punish them for it because they've done it. Yeah. But again, it's a different ownership group, so is it right to put out?
What's your take on? Sorry, bro, because I've only got 10 minutes left. Yeah. What I want to get your take on Everton. Obviously, you've seen a lot of Everton fans getting proper frustrated about this. A lot of them don't even know what they're talking about, really, because if you review they keep on talking about no sporting advantage, right? And they've even got they've done a fundraise and raised a lot of money and got a flag that says no sporting advantage. That's not true.
That's flying over our state. That's flying over our game,
That's weird. But the judgment says they got a sporting advantage. So I don't know where they've got that from. People keep on saying Everton have been treated harshly. I mean, if you actually read the judgment, I don't actually think they have been treated harshly. I think actually they've got exactly what basically you'd expect them to get. I mean, if you, like I say, read the judgment document, which is available on the internet, they were spending money recklessly. They presented misinformation to the panel, which isn't exactly great. They initially said they're not guilty and then come back later on and said, oh, no, we are guilty. So, again, you said you were innocent when you're not. And they've been, I think it said that they've been less than frank with the investigative panel. And ultimately, they have breached the rule and therefore gained a sporting advantage. And I know a lot of Everton fans keep on saying they've not got a sporting advantage. That you have. Because this is what
because you didn't take just because you didn't take advantage of it doesn't mean you didn't get a sporting advantage. You wouldn't have had those players if you didn't cheat. The only thing I think of is 10 points does seem a little. If it had been 7 points or 6 points, I would be like, yeah, that's about right. 10 points, on a day can feel like, oh, it's a lot that. But in terms of the rules, they broke the rules. And when you look at the reason, because they have to explain why they didn't think they broke the rules, and some of them were hilarious. One of them was they felt that Tottenham Hotspur financially took advantage of them because
Richarlison.
Yeah, that they were expecting 80 million for a Richarlison. They only got 60.
Yeah,
Another brilliant one was when they got Rafa in, and they spent £3 million that window because they were already on the site FFP. And when it comes to Everton, they were like preparing they were like trying to prepare for the future, trying to budget for the future. And when it got to that point, they had to do like where they estimate they'll finish so they can calculate the probable prize money, etc. And they said Everton will finish sixth.
Mm.
Everton was 16th when Benitez got sacked.
Yeah.
But they accounted for themselves finishing sixth, even though they hadn't finished as high as sixth since Roberto Martinez.
Mm.
So then you sit there and go, that's another cock up.
Did you see the one about Sigurdsson?
Yeah, when they went to the ball, went, can you knock off £10 million because we didn't let go of Sigurdsson? No, you should let go of Sigurdsson. You should just let go of him then. We can't like let you off on that one because you didn't do it.
It said basically
because if he'd been cleared, they would have played him.
Yeah, he said they were going to sue him to get the money back and then decided not to, but then just said to FFP, oh yeah, can we just pretend like we got that money anyway? It's like, no.
The stadium as well, the stadium has been a whole thing in itself. Living in the city, it's been hilarious listening to all the stories that are coming from it. But the big one was they were sitting there going, all the problems were caused by the stadium. They actually got let off with a lot of the stadium prices in terms of the plan for planning or all that sort of stuff, building planning, control, that sort of stuff. The Premier League were very lenient on that sort of stuff. They let a lot go with that. It's just been they've overspent on a lot of things, and that they've mismanaged poorly financially. And in the end, it's only been 20 million. But that is because you sold 120 million pounds worth of players in the past 2 windows, and you still lost out. You still didn't make.
Did you see the one? Did you see the this is when you're scraping the barrel, right? But the one where basically I didn't even know about this, but whenever a team makes a transfer, 4% of the transfer fee goes to the FA and it goes into a football pensioners fund, which I don't really know why they need one, but maybe it's for the lower league. So like, say you buy someone for 100 million, 4% of that, so what's that, 4 million goes into a transfer fund, yeah? And
they tried to claim all in when you back it.
Yeah, so fund, basically what happened was, when the money goes into this pension fund, yeah, if at the end of the year the pension fund's got money left in it, the FA distribute that money to like young football programs, right? So one of the things that you're allowed to deduct from FFP, your profitability, is investment into like academies. Everton tried to claim that money that they paid into the pension fund should be deducted because it was towards academy, and it was like, no, there's not towards the academy. It was towards a pension fund. That's completely nothing to do with you. You don't have control over that. That's completely separate. If the money didn't go to a pension fund, then it goes to an academy. But that's nothing to do with you. The money is a transfer levy for a pension fund. You cannot deduct that. And no other club in England, no other of the Premier League clubs, no 19 other clubs, not one of them tried to claim this apart from Everton. And they're the only ones that tried to claim it. So they were scraping the barrel. Is 10 points harsh? Maybe. But at the end of the day, I think part of the reason that they got the 10 points is because they tried to claim shit that they shouldn't have claimed. They were reckless in their spending. The judgment says, I'm pretty sure, I read it yesterday, I'm pretty sure it says on a number of occasions there were opportunities for Everton to rectify this with either not buying a certain players or selling other players to mitigate the loss. Because we're only talking 20 million quid here, by the way. They initially said they weren't guilty, said, nah, you're wrong, we're not guilty, and then come back and said we are guilty. Then they disputed the amount that they were guilty by. They provided misinformation. They've tried to claim shit that's clearly not claimable. No other club in the country has tried to claim it apart from them. So there was this media narrative going around for 24 hours or so. You know, Jamie Carragher was one of them that was spouting it, that Everton have been so cooperative during this investigation. No. This is super. They've not. They weren't super cooperative. They brought this on themselves, and you know, it's just they did gain a sporting advantage as per the document. But again, I don't know why a lot of Everton fans are saying they've not.
I think this is the thing with sporting advantage. People don't know what it means. So with Everton, the argument I could make is, yes, because they didn't perform well, but that £20 million, they could have made that up by selling Calvert-Lewin or Jordan Pickford or Amadou Onana or Decore or McNeil or Branthwaite. There's a lot of players who are worth around 20 million at that football club, but they didn't sell them because they needed them on the pitch, which is in turn a sporting advantage. Because let's say they'd sold Jordan Pickford and they had to play, do you know who the second choice goalkeeper is? I think it's not Asmir Begovic anymore. It was Begovic. It's not him anymore. Couldn't even tell you who the second choice goalkeeper is now. But they'd have to play him. So then that is a sporting advantage in itself because you get to keep them and you get to play them. All these sort of things add up.
I think it was a 3-year period, wasn't it? From 1920. So that was the first season, second season, third season to 2022. Yeah. So last year they bought Mikalenko for 23 million euros, which is about 20 million pound. So that would have been that's the money right there. The year before that, they spent 27 million pound on Ben Godfrey. They spent 24 million quid on Allen. They spent 20 million on Abdul Decore. Again, good player, but again, 3 players there that if they'd not signed, they wouldn't have breached the thing. And then the year before that, they bought 30 million Iwobi, 27 million Moise Keane, Andre Gomez 25, Gabanin, who the fuck's he? 25 million.
He played 5 games for them and got released on a free.
Yeah, so again, they spent a lot of money. They spent the money.
Even last year, I don't know if last year's relevant for it, but Amadou Onana came in last year for around 30 million quid. Neil Mopai came in for about 15 million. Like all these things, McNeil came in for like 15, 20 million. All these things out when they knew they were on the brink for ages because of the stadium play. It wasn't a shock to them that they were close to breaching the rules, but they blissfully ignored it because they believed that it would just that the FA wouldn't do it. They'd just bail them out in some way. They'd find loopholes. It doesn't work like that. And the one thing to say, we've been made to be an advantage of. No, you're the first club that's actually the FA have actually used the rules for. That's not being made. The argument is you're being made to be used as like the benchmark. No, it's just finally the FA are being competent with the punishments because it's a deserving punishment. Because the thing is, you have cost at least 6 teams hundreds of millions of pounds of revenue because that TV deal is massive. Those sponsorship deals in the Premier League are massive, which is why they're getting sued by clubs now. And if they get sued, they are fucked because they don't have the money to pay for this. They can't afford this.
Which is what I said at the start of the stream, and it's ironic how FFP is apparently brought in to protect clubs, and it might actually, who knows what will happen to Everton if they get sued and get, because the commission says the commission can make the club pay an unlimited amount of money to the sued clubs. So there's some rumours going around that it could be upwards of 300 million quid. Like it is possible.
100 million for each club. It's Burnley, it's Leeds, it's Leicester who are coming there.
So, I don't know how much in the end it's going to be if they do get found guilty on that case, but it's going to be an absolute madness. Big up to Ricky. Says, Tom, you lost 2 titles by 1 point to City in 3 years. If City are found guilty, how would you feel as a Liverpool fan, and what would be fair? Big up LB, great channel. Big up Ricky. Go on then, bro. That's a question for you.
I don't know what years are any of the years you're under investigation for years where we lost out on the title by a point? Because the only one that I know is 13-14.
I think it's up to 2018. Someone in the chat can maybe correct me if I can't remember.
So the 2 titles we were battling for, you hadn't actually broken any rules. So I don't really feel as much I can be hard on by. In terms of what the pun, I'd sit there and go, it's right you're getting punished because it's 115 charges. It's an awful lot of them, but I do believe a lot of them will get cleared up. But I'm not going to sit there and go, I want those Premier League titles back. Give us those titles. Let us have our... No, I think that's just a little bit embarrassing. Like, we lost them on the football pitch. It is what it is. Hopefully, the only thing I want to come out from it is, like I was saying with the VAR thing, like I say all the time, I don't want it to be retroactively given to us. I just want it to not happen again in the future. So if we're ever in the same situation in the future, it's a level playing field. That's all that needs to happen. Not this whole, we'll give one title back because let's say they give the title back to us. Then what about all the Carabao Cups you won and the FA Cups you won? Because that's hard to do because not only did you win the final, you knocked out how many teams to get to that point? So do you have to then? So you might have knocked out Arsenal one year. They sit there and go, well, if we didn't play City that round, we could have went on and won the whole thing. What do we do there? Like, it's just it's weird.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mess, guys. We're gonna wrap it up now. But big up to everyone that's in the building. Make sure you drop a like on the stream if you've not done so already. 350 people right here, right now. Let's get those likes to at least 200. Tom's going on to Hussam's channel now. This is football. I'm going to put a redirect on the channel so you guys can go straight over there and watch some more content. I think you're doing a Liverpool preview, aren't you? City preview. Like more Liverpool point of view.
Yeah, just general Liverpool chat about the international break and what we do for the City game coming up.
Yeah. Don't talk about the international break, bro. People won't watch. It's fucking dead. But guys, go check it out. I'm going to put a redirect on there. Big up to everyone that's in the building. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you've not done so already, more LB, second channel, links in the description. I did a video yesterday on João Neves, possible signing from Benfica, 19-year-old Manchester City midfielder. City apparently want him. Bernardo Silva's been speaking about him, saying he wants him to join Manchester City. Go check that out. Link in the description. Other than that, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll be back later on tonight. And this is Football's going live right now. Hussam and Tom. See you in a bit.